This is part 2 of reading log 18. This is chapter 27, which is titled Preparations for a Journey. I declared the meeting at an end. I will leave as soon as Oriel provides me with the strength potion, I announced.
Good riddance,
Adriana said, which I gathered was the closest she would come to wishing me luck. She stalked out of the great hall in a huff. Grimbold, poor lovesick puppy followed. Oriel needed to gather some herbs from the garden, and Wolfgar, another lovesick puppy, went with her. Abba said,
"Pass me time for my aerobics."
And Zenas announced he was going to look for those slippers I had promised him, and he was going to find that centipede-catching boy. "I'll help you," Deming said. "As for you," he told me, "now that King Grimbold is gone, let me be free in my advice." "Yes, please, thank you," I said. "You'll never succeed in killing the dragon. Kill Grimbold instead. Then have our army take on the barbarian army." "But I promised, and he's our guest, and that's so, well, dishonorable and underhanded." "Hey, you pay me for my advice," Deming said. "Take it or leave it." And he followed Zenas out. "Sister Mary Ursula, what do you think?" I asked. She pinched the bridge of her nose and hummed, "I think I will check on the blue dress with the pieces of rose quartz sewn around the neckline, and the shredded yak hair cuffs is clean enough to wear. It's a bit warm for summer, but it's very slimming." That just left Kendrick and Aldemar. Aldemar, I saw, had fallen asleep. "Any advice?" I asked Kendrick.
"You have advisors for that,"
he told me. Yeah, except neither of them had any useful advice. I suddenly remembered, I did have 3 advisors. I think I'll see what ex-counselor Rodon has to say. Kendrick and I found him sitting on the wooden fence in the pig pen, tossing vegetables that were past their prime to the pigs. "Princess Janine!" He jumped off the fence to kneel at my feet. "Thank you for sparing my life." "Everyone makes mistakes, Rodon. And mistakes need to be paid for. But if I ordered your death, that would be my mistake. Do well here, and eventually you may work your way up to your old position. Minus the treasury key," I mentally added. He bowed to indicate he accepted my words. "Rodon," I said quite loudly because the pigs were making complaining noises that their feeding had stopped. "As the late king's official advisor, you might have information that would help the kingdom." "What would you like to know?" he asked. That was the problem. I didn't know what I needed to know. At least he hadn't answered, "Fat chance I'll do anything for you." I said, "Do you know anything about the dragon whom King Cedric gave the crown from the barbarian king?" Rodon nodded. "After threatening to wipe out the entire castle 8 years ago, it was, let's say, turned back to King Cedric, and it swore never to visit these lands again. It resides in the south somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where." Kendrick said, "Aldemar says it's at Old Hag Mountain." Rodon nodded. "Then what's the question?" I told him, "Zenas gave me the 7-league boots to get there, and Oriel's mixing up a potion to make me stronger. Do you think that's the best way to try to physically overpower the dragon?" One of the catacombs ghosts tossed a head of lettuce into the pig pen, bouncing it off the head of one of the pigs, but the pigs didn't seem to mind the manner in which the food was delivered. Rodon said, "You are aware that this dragon is something on the order of 10 times as tall as you, and that it breathes fire. and that it will not readily give up 1 iota of gold. Dragons love gold. Yeah, I said. I'm glad it's not me.
I'm glad it's not me, Kendrick said too.
I know him better than to even ask him. What do you suggest? I asked Rodon. You said Zenas is here? I nodded. You know he puts magic into items such as those 7 League boots. It suddenly occurred to me where Cedric had gotten the ring that I have currently tucked beneath my tunic. Zenas has other such items, Rodon told me. I'm guessing he probably has something that would be useful to you in this situation. It's just that he doesn't like to part with them, so you may have to twist his arm a bit. Thank you. That was very helpful. I'm going to recommend an immediate promotion to you. I asked Kendrick. What's 1 step up from pigs?
Tending chickens?
Kendrick suggested. Would you prefer that? I asked Rodon. When he nodded, I'll see to it, I said. As we left, he once again sat on the rail and began tossing produce to the pigs. Kendrick and I found Zenas in the barracks, describing to the poacher boy the attributes of a prime centipede. I waved the boy away. Are you still here? Zenas demanded. As you can see, I understand that your specialty is magical artifacts. I already gave you the boots, he complained. Yes, and I'm very grateful. Sorry. Get your reading logs. But I was just thinking, if I'm wearing them when the dragon steps on me or eats me, you won't ever get them back. You could take them off, he suggested, before you go into the dragon's lair. But I'd be alone, I pointed out, since obviously nobody would be able to keep up with me while I'm wearing them, so there won't be anyone around to return them to you. Zenas pouted. Do you have anything else I could use that would help me survive my encounter with the dragon, so I could come back here and return the boots to you? You're trying to trick me. Zenas folded his arms across his chest. You're a tricky talker, just like your father. I needed a moment to remember he was talking about Cedric and not Dexter the peat cutter or my own dad back in Rochester, New York. I'm not trying to be tricky, I assured him. If, for example, say you have a second 7 League boots and you want to come with me so that you can bring back the first pair back? No, Zenas admitted solemnly. Or something else to help me defeat the dragon. No, he repeated, but I didn't believe him. Okay then, well, thanks for these boots. I held one foot up admiringly. Maybe somehow they'll get back to you. Come on, Kendrick, let's see if Oriel's potion is ready. All right, Zenas said. I know it's something that might be able to help you, but I don't have it. I was telling the truth when I said I didn't have anything to help you. My father has it. His father? When he had been around to make the crown for the first barbarian king, how old could this father be? What is it? I asked. A hat. What kind of hat? A hat that lets you slip between the moments of time. Kendrick and I exchanged puzzled glances. Excuse me? I said. Zenas explained. You keep on moving, but all around you, everybody and everything else stays in the moment where you first put the hat on. It stops time? I said incredulously. Obviously, you don't understand the concept at all, Zenas scoffed. It only feels as though you stopped time. You're slipping through the time stream. He shook his head and muttered in disgust. Amateurs. This sounds like it would be very helpful, I said. I should think so, Zenas sneered. And all I need to do is go to your father and ask him for the hat, and he'll give it to me? Yes. Somehow, I doubted it would be that simple. Somehow, I suspected that Zenas knew something. In fact, probably a lot of something that I didn't. While I was trying to worry about that, I had a sudden inspiration. I said, "That crown you made, is that magical too?" "Maybe," Zenas said. "Do you want me to shake him a bit?" Kendrick offered, sounding for a moment like his brother Abbas. "It grants the Midas touch," Zenas said. "You mean whoever wears it can turn things into gold?" "Thing," Zenas corrected. "It only works one time for each owner. The barbarian kings have slowly been building their wealth. King Cedric, of course, thought big. King Cedric used it on the tallest tree in the forest," I finished. "But once he used up his once, he gave it to the dragon?" Kendrick said, "The fact the dragon was about to make dinner out of us all would have helped in that decision." So much for Adriana's claim that Cedric had scared off the dragon. He had just bribed it. This also explains why Grimbold wasn't willing to accept Adriana in exchange for the crown. "Do we know what the dragon used the crown on?" I asked. "Or if, in fact, he had used it yet?" "Don't know and don't know," Zenas said. "But even if he used it, he still won't be willing to give it up. Dragons love gold." "So I've been told," I said. Oriel met us back in the great hall, where she handed me an earthenware vial about as big as a medium-priced bottle of perfume. "It isn't my best-tasting potion," she apologized. "Naturally, but I've added mint to make it more palpable." I wonder if this was just a coincidence, or that somehow the people at Rasmussen knew that I hated mint. But I thanked her nonetheless. "One hour," she reminded me. Aldemore woke up then and asked, "Have you thought of any way I can help you?" "You've been a help already," I said, "contacting everyone for me and finding the dragon." "Still," he said. "And Zenas has me going to his father to pick up a magic hat that will help me." "Well then, let me bring you to his father." "I have the 7 league boots," I reminded him. "But what if his father doesn't live 7 leagues away?" "Excuse me?" Aldemore explained. "The boots take 7 league steps. No more, no less." 7 leagues, I calculated, no doubt helped by Rasmussen's subliminals, is about 25 miles. "You mean I can't take, say, a half a step? Maybe only wore 1 boot?" "I'm afraid not," Aldemore said. He had taken out his scrying glass again, and he set it on the table. He cast his magic spell and said, "I see he lives beyond Fairfield. I could take you there, and then once you have what you need, I can calculate exactly how to get you to Old Hag Mountain in 7 league increments." "All right," I said. "Thank you. How can you get me to Zenas' father's place, though?" Sorry. "I can turn into a horse and carry you." "That would be wonderful." I thought about it for a moment. I hate to be rude or anything, but when you transform into an animal, does that mean, well, "I'll still be blind," he said. "You'll have to guide me." Well, maybe wonderful had been a slight overstatement. Maybe this would be okay, I hoped. And what payment do you want? Well, I certainly don't want to eat any centipedes or to wed any of the king's remaining sons. How about 25 gold pieces? It was expensive, but I said, yes. We packed some food since I had seen that these things always took longer than guessed. Goodbye, Kendrick told me, and good luck. Keep everyone out of trouble while I'm away, I said to him. Oldemore turned into a handsome bay horse already saddled. His eyes were discerningly blank. I climbed on and blew kisses to those who came to see me off, which was Kendrick, Oriole and Wolfgar, King Grimbold, and Captain Penrod. We rode over the drawbridge, and after we passed, I heard the guard order the bridge to be taken up. Nothing. Oh boy, the ghosts were coming with me. Okay, so now make sure you write your 6 sentences and turn in reading log 18 into teams. You have till the end of this Friday to do that.